Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Wisconsin State Assembly District 8 and 9 forum that SOC is hosting. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors. Buenos días, mi gente. Aquí están este sábado, día 8 de agosto, con nosotros para el foro de candidatos de, con permiso, la Estatal Asamblea Distrito 8 y 9. Si quieren acceso al programa en español, por favor, notan la información que está en la pantalla. Marquen el número 646-749-3122. Cuando le responden, cuando le levantan su llamada, compartan el código 779-321 o 328-221. Deja decir eso otra vez. 779-328-221, que también aparece en la pantalla. Folks, it's Saturday, August 10th. Did I say August 8th before? All the days are running together. We're so glad that you're here with us. I'm going to do some housekeeping so that you understand a little bit about the program today. We are going to bring candidates in front of you for those two races, District 8 and District 9. And we have a guest. The League of Women Voters will be with us at the District 9 forum. And so we want to make sure you understand that the views and opinions that are shared on this forum are not necessarily those of SOC. We're providing a platform for you all. And then if you're with us today, would you please drop a comment in Facebook so we know you're with us? We can see that there are people on, but we can't see who that is unless you leave a little comment. So if you could just say a good morning in the comments so that we know that you're with us. We're so excited to continue to serve our fellow neighbors. We're entering our 35th anniversary in 2025, so stay tuned. We have some incredible activities to celebrate with you, and we hope you'll join us. Let me share a little bit about SOC's approach to the Candidates Forum. Different organizations do forums differently, and so we have our own policies and our own practices. Our forums are focused on providing the neighbors who live in those districts information. That is our priority. We give the candidates who come on our forums questions when they arrive so that you have an assurance that they're answering. If you give questions ahead of time, you don't know who's writing the answers. So that's one distinct feature that we do. We give them questions live and they have to respond live. There's predetermined questions. So this is not like a town hall or listening session where people can line up and ask questions. We asked for questions ahead of time. We didn't have time this time for this forum, so we reverted back to other forums we've done. But generally, we put out a post and ask you all what questions you want them to answer, and then we figure out themes from those questions and base those questions on the themes so that the majority of people get questions answered. It's not a debate, so we don't leave room for candidates to debate each other because the forum is for you, not for them, right? And so, although we love to hear from them and it's important too. And so they're speaking to the questions for you. If they don't use up all their time and we have time at the end, then what we'd like to do is say, if you have questions that haven't been asked, you can submit your questions to our message in Facebook. Send us a message in Facebook. You can send us your name, your address, and what question you want answered, and we'll look at those to see if they haven't been asked. It's really important. You have to give us your name and address. We want to verify you live in that district because those are the priorities. All right, folks, we're going to get into the program now. We want to thank the neighbors that are with us. We want to thank our collaborators this year or this forum, the League of Women Voters. is that collaborator for District 9. I want to thank the SOC team. There's a whole group of people making this happen, believe it or not. There's a person doing production and a backup person, a person doing comments and a backup person. We have the staff who leads civic engagement, coordinating this event. I am the executive director and lead organizer here at SOC. My name is Tammy Rivera, and I'm sharing the hosting as we're onboarding, new staff, and then we have some other staff in the background supporting and helping us. Like I just got a text, slow down, so that the interpreter can catch up with what we're saying, and we have an interpreter who's responding to our Spanish-speaking neighbors. All right. What I'm going to do next is we're going to introduce the candidates forum. We're going to bring in the candidate, ask questions, and then Carmen, our legal and program director, is going to come and share some civic information for you. I'll be back with some SOC promos. You want to know what we're doing here and how you can get engaged. And then we'll wrap it up, and we'll be back after this segment. We'll be back at 11 for the District 9 forum. Okay. So the role of the state assembly person, basically it's to make laws, folks. And so they are a part of the groups that have to negotiate and make laws. So we have which is called the legislature. And so one of the things that they passed, to give you a sense of what they did this last cycle, is new rules about tax exemption for child care and dependent care. So that's like one example of what they do. And then the census resulted in new boundaries for districts. And I don't know that there was enough effort to share with everyone what those new boundaries are, and that gets confusing. So our staff is going to put up a link so you can see what are the boundaries for District 8. So we'll have that up and you can look. The people who live in District 8 are going to be voting between the candidates for District 8, and we have one of the candidates with us today. So you want to look and see, are you a District 8 Southsider? Otherwise, when District 9 forum comes up, we'll be doing the same, and you can look at that link and see where we're at. And then what's going to happen is there are 3 questions. The candidate is going to have 5 minutes to answer each question. And so with that said, I'd like to introduce Silvia Ortiz Velez, who is currently serving as our State Assembly District 8 representative. And we will start that portion of the program so she can be asked and share with you her answers. Buenos dias, Silvia.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. What we're going to do, Silvia, is there's 3 questions. As we've shared, you have 5 minutes to answer each question. If you end up answering the question before the 5 minutes are up, you're more than welcome to share whatever else you'd like, or we can move to the next question. Sounds good? Muy bien. So the first question is, would you please introduce yourself and why you want to serve the people in your district?
Thank you for that question. That's a great question. First, I'm running because I'm just like everyone else in my neighborhood. And I understand the issues. I love what I do, and I'm good at it. So I was born and raised in the neighborhood. I went to Morgandale. I went to Hayes. I went to Kosciuszko. And I was a volunteer in our community for more than a decade. I've done a lot of park cleanups and many other things. before I went to school and I did get a degree in political science because I wanted to be effective in what I did because it meant that much to me. So I made the commitment to get an education in this field, which helped. But it's nothing, doing it, on the ground and getting the real life experience. Then I was the county board supervisor for most of this district for 2 terms, where I was able to accomplish a lot of things. One of those was to help to create 2 Hispanic majority districts at the county level. I was instrumental in that. And I'm proud to help to try to create more representation for our community. And these issues are very complex issues when it comes to maps and redistricting. And I'm glad that over the years, I've had the ability to get to know and understand these very complex, nuanced issues. I'm a full-time legislator. This is all I do. And I've been very successful. I authored and co-authored more than 50 bills, but in governor. I think 20% of the bills the governor has signed into law this session. I'm proud to have been instrumental in getting fair maps for our state. I was there when the governor signed fair maps into law. I have the pen, it's sitting in my safe. One day I hope to get it framed. I'm very happy because that opens up a lot of opportunities for our state. For so long, we have been operating under gerrymandered maps, which when I try to explain to people, it's basically, 2 for you, 2 for me, 1 for you. And everybody knows that's not fair. It should be 1 for me, 1 for you. That's what makes us equal. And everybody in our state deserves to be equal. So I'm very happy that we now have fair maps. Many things had to happen, but I was very instrumental in helping in that endeavor. And with the fair maps, our community also got the very first map that was like the best map for the Latino community for a Senate seat. So we also not only maintained the districts 8 and 9, which are covered under a Baldus ruling. It's very complex. We should do like a whole show on that. It'd be great. But not only that, I have made sure that I have worked on issues that are important to the people in the district that I serve. I've mentioned, I want to mention just some of the topics that I've worked on. Some public safety has been a major issue that I've worked on. And when it comes to that, we've increased the penalties for reckless driving. These are things that I've gotten done this session. It was instrumental in getting done. We've created and increased the penalties, allowed the impoundments of vehicles for certain reckless driving offenses. When I talk to the people, this is something that I hear time and time and time again. And you can see, there's not a time that I can't look at the news and see someone who had died or been seriously injured because of reckless driving. And we know how, for 40 years, we haven't actually looked at our laws in our state. So it's been 40 years since we made changes to our reckless driving laws. I've helped to create the definition for carjacking in our state. We didn't have that before. We allowed judges to look at criminal records when they're looking at violent criminals to set bail.
Thank you, Sylvia. Let's pause right there and you can add anything else to your next question. And we're going to give a better heads up of when time is coming. Let me share the second question with you. It has to do with public servanthood, serving the people. You've shared some just now, and so you can feel free to continue. What have you done to serve the people in this district? And what will you do to serve them, including ensuring that their voice is being heard?
Thank you for the question. So again, I have been working on issues that are important to our district. And I have also many times taken, when we look at education, making sure that we're going to educate all of our children in our state. And we need to fully fund our public schools and we need to fully fund all of our education. There's no reason why our children should suffer. When it comes to things that I didn't get done that I hope to get done and I want to continue to work on for our community, especially now that we have fair maps, much more is possible. We need to do much more when it comes to childcare and making sure that's affordable. And I've gotten things across the finish line to protect our democracy. It's no longer allowed for polling locations. I don't know if people remember in 2020 when polling locations were shut down. This is a pretty major thing. This is a pretty major bill that I authored this session, and it was passed and signed into law. And it basically says that that can't happen anymore, that there has to be a process, that if they change your polling location, you have to get a notice now. There was never a requirement for that before. And it has to be someone physically at the polling location telling you, now you have to go to this other polling location. So we actually created a process, and there has to be a public hearing. Your alderman gets to weigh in. Before, there was no requirement that your alderman, your representative, a member of the legislative branch could weigh in. So that was one major thing that I got accomplished for our democracy. There's much more. I mean, I literally have like a memo that's like 6 pages long of the things that I've been working on that are important for our district. I have talked to the people, I have heard their voices, and I write things down as I go along. I've been writing down things down. I have over 40 more bills that I would like to get to work on that the people have identified to me that are important to them. Making sure that we can take that Medicare money for healthcare, and we can do that. I believe we can. I think we can convince some people. I think our numbers are going to be much closer. I think we have commitments to pass driver's licenses in our state. I have many commitments, and I believe that's going to happen. We were so close last session to getting DACA licensing for professional licensing in our state. We actually had a public hearing for the very first time. And that was accomplished because people worked hard, and we was able to help to create a huge a group of people that came together from all different groups and parties to work on this issue in a nonpartisan way so that we can get something passed. And it almost did. And I believe next session it will. And I want to continue working hard for our community because I love what I do, and I'm good at it. And I'm here. I'm accessible. People can reach out to my office. I've been, helping people along the way. It's what I've been doing my whole life. So it's nothing abnormal to me. I come from a family that, from a father that has always given to our community. So this is something that's normal to me. And I've been working very hard, and I'm effective at it. So I hope people give me another opportunity to continue to serve.
Great. Thank you. I was told you and I both have to slow down a little bit for the interpreters. I forget too all the time. So we'll try to, Alan, we're so sorry. I'm guilty too. We're going to both try to slow down so that you can catch up our Spanish speaking neighbors. We're going to go ahead and start the last question. It's on impact, Sylvia. What top legislation and what top budget change will you champion? It's 2 parts, right? What top legislation and top budget change will you champion? And then what greatest impact will you make at the state legislature these next 2 years? So I'll say that again because that's a loaded question. There's a lot in there. The top legislation, the top budget, and the greatest impact you want to make in this next session. And what we'll do is we'll help with the timing. So when it gets to 2.5 minutes, I'll let you know. And when it gets to a minute.
Okay, and I'm going to slow down. I apologize for going faster earlier. So it's such an important thing. There's so many important things that need to get done. But just to go back to some of the things that I've been hearing from the people, and that's what's making my decisions on what to work on, is making sure that we get more affordable health care, that we take that Medicare money, that Badger Care money, and that we make sure more people get access to health care. Because we have like the lowest disparity levels of healthcare. And then especially for the Latino community, we suffer from a lot of different ailments that other communities might not. So understanding that, childcare, I hear about this every day. Childcare, making childcare more affordable, the cost of childcare in our state. We can do something about this because we have a surplus. Hey, everybody, we did not allow the Republicans to hand out the money that we had in our state last session to people who make over $400,000. So we have a huge surplus And this is in education. These are the things that people want us to invest in, and we should be investing in our children, in our health. Also, and part of that is also growing our labor force, because we don't have enough people for our health. We don't have enough nurses. To help to do that, there's a lot of things that we can do to build our workforce, because we need that. And one of them is also DACA licensing, which I'm going to get in this next session. I already know the pathway. I know we can get the votes in the House and we can get the votes in the Senate. Things are going to change, and we were almost there last time. And so I've already built the networks. When it comes to our driver's licenses for everyone in our state, we should be able to have that, and it's going to make us better for public safety on our roads. Also, protecting our fare maps. This is vital. It almost reminds me of the saying, you've heard it before, it's a democracy if we can keep it. Their maps will remain fair so long as we can keep them. So we were very close, Tammy, to creating a process that could create a process where within the legislative branch, we can have fair maps that we have. And the reason why it's important to have fair maps is so that people have to listen in our state to the people that they serve, instead of being protected by a rigged map. So this is vital.
We have 2.5 more minutes, Sylvia. So just letting you know on time, there's some time to continue to share. And then we want to remind folks, if you're here, if you can say hello in the comments so we know you're with us.
Also, I want to relook at Act 14, which was an act that created this 2% sales tax. And because of the way it was created, and it's very complex. Again, these issues are very complex. It's so important to have representation that can understand these complex issues. And there's a lot of nuances to that issue. But there's some things that I believe can be done and make it better for Milwaukee County and the city of Milwaukee. So that we can have equal access to public accommodations and be able to support mental health, be able to support housing and tenant rights. I want to continue to protect our democracy and make sure that it's easy to vote. I also want to make sure that we're, making sure that we're also protecting our public safety. Another thing that comes up a lot is our roads and our infrastructure. And certainly people can drive around and see the need for more attentiveness in that issue. And even though that's a city issue, I think that the state, that there's things that the state can do to make that better. I currently sit on the transportation committee. I currently sit on housing. I've been a real estate broker for 20 years. I think that has also prepared me to be able to negotiate. And I'm very successful at being able to work across the aisle and solve problems.
So we have a little less than 1 minute left. Is there anything to wrap up you want to make sure people know about yourself, your candidacy, or the legislature?
Yes, I just want to say that I'm just like everyone else from this community. I've always had to do more with less, and I'm a hard worker. I'm your full-time legislator. I love what I do. I understand the issues. I live here with you, and I hope that you give me another opportunity to serve. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us, Sylvia. We appreciate your partnership. Have a great day. All right, folks, you've heard from one of the candidates, the one who responded for this forum, Sylvia Ortiz Velez, answering our questions to give you the information that you need to be able to vote on Tuesday. And so now I'm going to invite our legal and program director to share some voting information that you'll need for Tuesday.
Thank you, Tammy, for that introduction. And thank you, Sylvia, for spending a little bit of today's morning sharing some thoughts with the community. As Tammy mentioned, I'm going to provide some information about civic engagement in general, starting with the fact that SAC is having a vote-a-thon on election day, August 13. We're going to be live on at 8, 12, and 6 p.m., and this is done through Facebook. The 12 p.m. show is going to be run by our youth. And if you know something about our youth program, is that they're very active and they're very interesting in the way they present this information. Also, I want to share that today you're still able to go vote. If you want to go vote in the South Side, the Sabloki Library is open from 10 to 2 to provide early voting. In addition, we're going to have this information in our comments, but if you need information about voter registration, what do you need to go to the polls? Any kind of information, you can go to myvote.wisconsin.gov. Let me say that again, myvote.wi.gov. Let me see what else I have here for you. We also have in the comments for you information from the Vote Riders. The Vote Riders is the entity that's helping people obtain the documents that you might need to get registered, birth certificates, driver's license, ID cards, all of that. You should be able to go through Vote Riders and obtain that information. Also, one of our good collaborators, Souls to the Polls, is the entity that can help you with transportation on voting day. In addition to that, we have information from the ACLU for voter protection. We will provide to you the phone numbers and the email link. So if you confront any problems with voting on voting day, you can access those numbers. And we just received yesterday some information that on voting day, Bubbler is allowing the use of bikes for free. And we will post that also on our Facebook site. Well, that's from me. Thank you, Tammy. And we'll get back to Tammy. Thanks.
Thank you, Carmen. Maybe can you keep Carmen on for a second or bring her back? I just want to make sure that people hear a little more about early voting. So they can early vote, Carmen, at Zablocki Library?
Yes, the libraries, there are few libraries around town that are open today.
Can we talk about the South Side ones and the times that they're, days and times they're available?
Yes, Zablocki is open from 10 to 2. And Tippecanoe is also in the South Side on Howell Avenue. It's open from 10 to 4. Those are
on what days? On what days are they open for early voting?
That is today. Today is the last day for early voting.
And so Zablocki's open from what time to what time today?
From 10 to 2.
And then Tippecanoe is open from what time to what time today?
10 to 4.
Great. And then would you mention League of Women Voters 411 site? Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. The League of Women Voters have the main site, League of Women Voters, where they provide all the information. But in addition to that, they have vote411.org. The important thing about Vote 411 is that you can see information about the candidates, and they had submitted questions to the candidates, and if the candidates answer the questions, that will be posted at the vote411.org site. So if you want to get more information about the candidates, have a little bit more details, that's where you could go. And you'll find all of that in our comment section on our Facebook.
Great. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you, Tammy.
All right. My Southside neighbors, we have a great opportunity for you to engage with us and earn some cash gifts in the form of a gift card. We have a couple of surveys and promos to share with you. The great thing is, for each one that you do, you increase your chances of winning a door prize um, of a $25 cash gift card. And so, the first thing we'd like to ask you to do, and none of these take more than like 3 minutes of your time. So imagine at the end of today, you could have entered to win a total of $100 for 12 minutes at most of your time, and some of them are a lot shorter. So first of all, we want to get your feedback on what was helpful about this forum and what we could do different. So we'll ask for you to fill out the first of four engagement opportunities today, which is the program survey for candidates, for the candidates forum. So the team will put in the comments a link to that survey. I think it's 4 questions in total, if I remember correctly. And so please fill that one out. And again, if you fill it out, it's going to take a few minutes and you get entered to win a gift card. And then there's a second opportunity to engage, and this is really a citywide effort. The federal government gives housing and urban development funds to develop areas. And then that goes through the state, and finally it gets to the city. And at the city, there's an office that manages that money. And that office has to have a plan every 5 years on how they're going to take that money from the federal government and divide it to the needs in the city of Milwaukee. And so that's called the consolidated plan. Those funds are called the Community Development Block Grant. So it's the Community Development Block Grant consolidated. So consolidated over 5-year plan. And then they want to know, what are your priorities in order for them to divide that money up, to put a plan together on how to spend those funds. So if you care about where the tax money is going through the city to serve us in this community, this is the time for you to say, I think it should be youth. I think it should be homeless shelters or housing. I think it should be safety. This is your opportunity. And that link went up. That's the second one that we're going to be putting up. And again, a couple of minutes. In addition, they have the opportunity for you to win an iPad. So everybody who fills out that survey is going to have an opportunity to win an iPad, in addition to our gift card. So you could get a $25 gift card and you could be the winner of that iPad. And then we are also doing our plan for the next couple of years. And we want to make sure we're prioritizing our resources to serve you in the way that's most important to you. So we've been doing a post-pandemic survey. We know that the pandemic took some life choices away from us, things we couldn't do. And we had to make choices on how we lived our life differently during that time. And so we want to make sure we're checking in with our neighbors on what's really important to you now. What are the issues or the things you want us to spend our energy on? Because we can't be everything to everybody, and we want to prioritize according to your needs. So if you fill that survey out, you'll enter again for a $25 gift card. When you open that survey, it may look long to you, but that's because every question is in English and Spanish. It's really not that long. And then finally, we're doing a new campaign this year to add Block ambassadors to our groups. And so we want to make sure we have an adult and a youth on every block that's willing to be an ambassador. What does that mean? It's real simple, folks. You agree to share when we share with you, like there's resources or activities coming up, you just agree to share flyers and information with your neighbors, those opportunities. And the other thing that you'll do is when we're doing plans or activities, you'll be able to tell us what's happening on your block. What do you think is important to people? So you'll be able to represent their voice by when you see them, chatting with them and asking them questions, or just your sense of what you've seen on your block. And so the ambassadors are going to be brought together. We're going to have pep rallies. We're going to have training. We're going to have all kinds of gear from the South Side. that you can earn from the activities you do. Those folks will be able to come to our retro ball at a discounted price. We'll have conferences that they can go to for free, etc. So that's really a nice program. So please go ahead and sign up for that. It's real simple. It just says, I'm willing to share some information and leave flyers with my neighbors, and I'm willing, to give you our thoughts about what's important on our block. And then last, we're growing really fast. And so we have several job opportunities available. Right now, we have our development and marketing director. And so if you're interested in that job, please apply, take a look at it. We are hiring canvassers. Those are folks who like to interact with other folks and tell them about all our programs. And mostly right now, this season that's coming up will be about asking them if they know where they need to vote. It's all nonpartisan activities. So we don't support any one party or any one candidate. But if you want to be a canvasser, we go door to door. We'll go to high traffic areas like a major grocery store, a major event, a school, and just share information with people about where to vote, how to vote. We do that in teams. Everyone gets trained to do it. So that's an opportunity. And then we'll be posting a civic engagement manager. If you really love work around democracy, you'll be able to do much of what Carmen and I are doing today, letting people know and coordinating all those activities. And then we're going to be posting a data and canvassing coordinator. The data person will be looking at where we've been, what are the results of that, what do the demographics in the community look like, where we are with our goals. And then that person's going to help just coordinate our canvassing teams, the groups of people who are going out either door to door or to events. And then we're going to post 4 organizing positions. If you really care that neighbors have a voice in what happens in their community and you love interacting with people, that's a great job to look forward to. All right, folks, we want to thank you. Let me see if there's any questions or comments for us. Looks like it's an early Saturday and people are chilling. We don't have any questions. And so this ends the District 8 Candidates Forum. Be back with us at 11 for the District 9 Wisconsin State Assembly Forum. We'll see you then. Thank you.